Shabbat Shalom Yasharala. Welcome to week 11, Genesis chapters 34 through 37. Before we get going, let's blow the trumpets before y'all tell me to. Numbers 10:10. We shall blow the shofar on his solemn feast day. Y'all ready? Let's do this together. One body, one sound. Let's do this. All right, let's pray before we get started. Heavenly Abba, high in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Keep us on the straight and narrow, Abba. Give us correction, discipline us if we ever even think about steering to the left or to the right. Show mercy upon us and equip us with the full body of Mashiach, the Ruach Kodesh, in full capacity, Abba, so we have a chance, an opportunity at making it to the kingdom. Barak your name, Bahashem Yasha. Please lead this message in spirit and in truth. Amen and amen. Chapter 34 of Genesis. Let's begin.
Genesis 34. Now Dinah, the daughter Leah had borne to Jacob, went out to visit the daughters of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, the prince of the region, saw her, he took her and lay with her by force. And his soul was drawn to Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. He loved the young girl, and spoke to her tenderly. So Shechem told his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as a wife." Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, but since his sons were with his livestock in the field, he remained silent about it until they returned. Meanwhile, Shechem's father Hamor came to speak with Jacob. When Jacob's sons heard what had happened, they returned from the field. They were filled with grief and fury because Shechem had committed an outrage in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, "My son Shechem longs for your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves. You may settle among us, and the land will be open to you. Live here, move about freely, and acquire your own property." Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Grant me this favor, and I will give you whatever you ask. Demand a high dowry and an expensive gift, and I will give you whatever you ask. Only give me the girl as my wife."
All right, we see that word dowry again. This is why it's important to build on understanding as we're reading. So I ain't going to go over the meaning of dowry again. We should know this is the price for a virgin wife in these times. And let's go to the book of Jasher as a side-by-side story. It'll be in chapter 33. And we're going to read 1 through 28. Let's get going. Quite a bit reading from the book of Jasher in this portion. It's a lot of storyline narratives, and the book of Jasher enhances these stories. So we're gonna read them based on our baseline Genesis readings right now, developing as much understanding as possible. All right, verse 1 of chapter 33 of Jasher. Let's read. "And in some time after, Jacob went away from the borders of the land, and he came to the land of Shalom, that is the city of Shechem, which is the land of Canaan. And he rested in the front of the city. And he brought a parcel of And he bought a parcel of the field which was there from the children of Hamor, the people of the land, for 5 shekels. And Jacob there built himself a house, and he pitched his tent there, and he made booths for his cattle. Therefore he called the name of that place Sukkoth. And Jacob remained in Sukkoth a year and 6 months. At that time, some of the women of the inhabitants of the land went to the city of Shechem to dance and rejoice with the daughters of the people of the city. When they went forth, then Rachel and Leah and the wives of Jacob with their families also went to behold the rejoicing of the daughters of the city. And Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, also went along with them and saw the daughters of the city, and they remained there before these daughters while all the people of the city were standing by them to behold their rejoicings, and all the great people of the city were there. And Shechem, the son of Hamor, the prince of the land, was also standing there to see them. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, sitting with her mother before the daughters of the city, and the damsel pleased him greatly. And he there asked his friends and his people, saying, whose daughter is that sitting amongst the women, whom I do not know in this city? And they said unto him, surely this is the daughter of Jacob, the son of Isaac the Hebrew, who has dwelt in this city for some time. And when it was reported that the daughters of the land were going forth to rejoice, she went with her mother and maidservants to sit amongst them, as thou seest. And Shechem beheld Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and when he looked at her, his soul became fixed upon Dinah. And he sent and had her taken by force. And Dinah came to the house of Shechem, and he seized her forcibly and lay with her and humbled her. And he loved her exceedingly and placed her in his house. And they came and told the thing unto Jacob. And when Jacob heard that Shechem had defiled his daughter Dinah, Jacob sent 12 of his servants to fetch Dinah from the house of Shechem. And they went and came to the house of Shechem to take away Dinah from there. And when they came, Shechem went out to them with his men and drove them from his house. And he would not suffer them to come before Dinah. But Shechem was sitting with Dinah, kissing and embracing her before their eyes. And the servants of Jacob came back and told him, saying, when we came, he and his men drove us away, and thus did Shechem do unto Dinah before our eyes. And Jacob knew, moreover, that Shechem had defiled his daughter, but he said nothing, and his sons were feeding his cattle in the field. And Jacob remained silent till their return. And before his sons came home, Jacob sent 2 maidens from his servants' daughters to take care of Dinah in the house of Shechem, and to remain with her. And Shechem sent 3 of his friends to his father's father Hamor, the son of Shedechem, the son of Pered, saying, give me this damsel for a wife. This Shedechem, remember that name. He's a prominent character, at least in the book of Jasher, with this storyline. Verse 17. And Hamor, the son of Shedechem, the Hivite, came to the house of Shechem his son, and he sat before him. And Hamor said unto his son Shechem, is there then no woman amongst the daughters of thy people, that thou wilt take a Hebrew woman who is not of thy people? And Shechem said unto him, her only must thou get for me, for she is delightful in my sight. And Hamor did according to the word of his son, for he was greatly beloved by him. And Hamor went forth to Jacob to commune with him concerning this matter. And when he had gone from the house of his son Shechem, before he came to Jacob to speak unto him, behold, the sons of Jacob had come from the field as soon as they heard the thing that Shechem, the son of Hamor, had done. And the men were very much grieved concerning their sister, and they all came home fired with anger before the time of gathering in their cattle. And they came and sat before their father, and they spoke unto him, kindled with wrath, saying, surely death is due to this man and to his household, because the Adon Elohim of the whole earth commanded Noah and his children that Man shall never rob, nor commit adultery. Now, behold, Shechem has both ravished and committed fornication with our sister, and not one of all the people of the city spoke a word to him. I'm not 100% sure if translation is 100% correct here or not, but Dinah wasn't married, which would be the exact definition of the adultery. You would have to be married. But as it says in the verse, committed fornication. That is the real crime, is that they committed fornication with a woman that they stole. Not sure about the adultery thing. And on that note, real quick, while we're on verse 21, I wanted to, you know what? I'll wait to finish. We're almost done. Yeah, we're almost done. We're reading until verse 28, and then I'll come back. All right, verse 22. Surely thou knowest and understandest that the judgment of death is due to Shechem and to his father and to the whole city on account of the thing which he had done. And while if they were speaking before their father in this matter, behold, Hamor, the father of Shechem, came to speak to Jacob the words of his son concerning Dinah. And he sat before Jacob and before his sons. And Hamor spoke unto them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give her unto him for a wife and intermarry with us. Give us your daughters, and we will give you our daughters. And you shall dwell with us in our land, and we will be as one people in the land. For our land is very extensive. So dwell ye and trade therein, and get possessions in it, and do therein as you desire. And no one shall prevent you by saying a word to you. And Hamor ceased speaking unto Jacob and his sons, and behold, Shechem his son had come after him, and he sat before him. And Shechem spoke before Jacob and his sons, saying, may I find favor in your sight, that you will give me your daughter, and whatever you say unto me, that I will do for her. Ask me for an abundance of dowry and a gift, and I will give it. And whatever you shall say unto me, that will I do. And whoever he be that will rebel against your orders, he shall die. Only give me the damsel for a wife. All right. So that just enhances the story we read in Genesis, at least the beginning of Genesis 34 here now. And so with all that being said, let's go to Deuteronomy 7:1-4 concerning this whole matter of Shechem the Hivite, that this is commanded to obviously not be in communion and to give daughters to one another. Verse 1. When the Most High shall bring thee into the land, whether thou goest to possess it. This is obviously later talking with Moses, but these were very similar, if not the same, commandments given to Abraham as well about the people in the land that we've been reading about, saying this is why they went to the family of Rebekah and the family of Abraham, because they didn't want to obviously get a Canaanite woman from the land. So shall the Most High shall bring thee into the land, whether thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, because Shechem is a Hivite, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Most High shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son Shechem in this story, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. So this is not a good business deal, right? According to the Most High Elohim. Now, verse 4, for they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. So this is where the foundation, I would say this verse summarizes the foundation of why this is bothersome. And obviously, he didn't ask permission beforehand, right, Keenan? And it's a very big deal, to take a woman's virginity. This is just an idea of how big of a deal it is in Deuteronomy 22, 20 and 21. But if this thing be true, the fact that a woman is not a virgin upon marriage, the tokens of her virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she has wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you. Obviously, Dinah was raped. She was forced into it. So that's not necessarily playing the whore, but it is taking away the tokens of her virginity, which is sacred, especially to righteous Hebrews, right? So I just wanted those two verses to kind of summarize how big of a deal this is, because I mean, well, obviously rape is not ever good in any timeline, but people took their women and men took virginity way more like sacred and important in their time. In our time, woo, totally different time we're living in. But in their time, very big deal. All right, let's go back to the book of Genesis now, continuing with verse 13.
But because Shechem had defiled their sister Dinah, Jacob's sons answered him and his father Hamor deceitfully. We cannot do such a thing, they said. To give our sister to an uncircumcised man would be a disgrace to us. We will consent to this on one condition, that you become circumcised like us, every one of your males. Then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We will dwell among you and become one people. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, then we will take our sister and go. Their offer seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. The young man, who was the most respected of all his father's household, did not hesitate to fulfill this request, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city and addressed the men of their city. These men are at peace with us. Let them live and trade in our land. Indeed, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters in marriage and give our daughters to them. But only on this condition will the men agree to dwell with us and be one people, if all our men are circumcised as they are. Will not their livestock, their possessions, and all their animals become ours? Only let us consent to them, and they will dwell among us. All the men who went out of the city gate listened to Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male of the city was circumcised.
All right, let's fill in the gaps of this story with the book of Jasher. That much more depth. All right, so we're going to be back in the book of Jasher, chapter 33, verse 20, starting at verse 29. We're going to read 29 to 43. Let us read. And Simeon and Levi answered Hamor and Shechem his son deceitfully, saying, all you have spoken unto us, we will do for you. And just before we continue, this is just one verse here, I just wanted to show in the Septuagint that it confirms that, because if we go back to the top here, it just says Jacob's sons here. Jacob's sons answered him. But the book of Jasher clarifies that it's Simeon and Levi alone leading this charge, which we'll see repetitively over and over again. But from the beginning to the end is Simeon and Levi, which is also confirmed in the Septuagint, verse 14 as well, that Simeon and Levi were the brothers from the beginning that was taking initiative to handle this matter the way they saw was fitting for the judgment. All right. So Simeon and Levi answered Hamor and Shechem, his son, deceitfully, saying, all you have spoken unto us, we will do for you. And behold, our sister is in your house, but excuse me, one second. Okay. But keep away from her until we send to our father Isaac concerning this matter, for we can do nothing without his consent. For he knoweth the ways of our father Abraham, and whatever he says unto us, we will tell you. We will conceal nothing from you. And Simeon and Levi spoke this unto Shechem and his father in order to find a pretext and to seek counsel what was to be done to Shechem and to the city in this matter. And when Shechem and his father heard the words of Simeon and Levi, it seemed good in their sight. And Shechem and his father came forth to go home. And when they had gone, the sons of Jacob said unto their father, saying, behold, we know that death is due to this wicked ones and to their city, because they transgressed that which Elohim had commanded unto Noah and his children and his seed after them. And also because Shechem did this thing to our sister Dinah in defiling her, for such vileness shall never be done amongst us. Now, therefore, know and see what you will do, and seek counsel and pretext what is to be done to them, in order to kill all the inhabitants of this city. And Simeon said to them, here is a proper advice for you. Tell them to circumcise every male amongst them as we are circumcised. And if they do not wish to do this, we shall take our daughter from them and go away. And if they consent to do this and will do it, then when they are sunk down with pain, we will attack them with our swords as upon one who is quiet and peaceable, and will slay every male person amongst them. And Simeon's advice pleased them. And Simeon and Levi resolved to do unto them as it was proposed. And on the next morning, Shechem and Hamor, his father, came again unto Jacob and his sons to speak concerning Dinah, and to hear what answer the sons of Jacob would give to their words. And the sons of Jacob spoke deceitfully to them, saying, we told our father Isaac all your words, and your words pleased him. But he spoke unto us, saying, thus did Abraham his father command him from Elohim, the Adon of the whole earth, that any man who is not of the descendants that should wish to take one of his daughters shall cause every male belonging to him to be circumcised, as we are circumcised. And then we may give him our daughter for a wife. Now we have made known to you all of our ways that our father spoke unto us, for we cannot do this of which you spoke unto us, to give our daughter to an uncircumcised man, for it is a disgrace to us. And so I'm going to the rest is kind of just saying the same thing that Genesis said. So we're going to jump to the last two verses of this chapter 33 of Jasher. I'm going to read the last two verses, 51, 52. Here we go, 51. And on the next day, Shechem and Hamor, his father, rose up early in the morning, and they assembled all the men of their city into the middle of the city, and they called for the sons of Jacob, who circumcised every male belonging to them on that day and the next. And they circumcised Shechem and Hamor, his father, and the 5 brothers of Shechem. And then everyone rose up and went home, for this thing was from the Adon against the city of Shechem. And from the Adon was Simeon's counsel in this matter, in order that the Adon might deliver the city of Shechem into the hands of Jacob's 2 sons. And now we're going to finish reading Genesis 34, starting with verse 25.
3 days later, while they were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Dinah's brothers Simeon and Levi, took their swords, went into the unsuspecting city, and slaughtered every male. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with their swords, took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went away. Jacob's other sons came upon the slaughter and looted the city, because their sister had been defiled. They took their flocks and herds and donkeys, and everything else in the city or in the field. They carried off all their possessions, and women and children, and they plundered everything in their houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble upon me, by making me a stench to the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the people of this land. We are few in number. If they unite against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?"
Man, Jacob, Jacob is not a fighter, and we'll touch on that later. Very, very clear in scripture. But we're going to read a big chunk of chapter 34 in the book of Jasher. I think it's actually the whole chapter. Yes, I'm going to read the whole 70 verses because I want to add this story. Because it's fully connected with the timeline we're on, and it's just a good story here. So let's get the reading. Chapter 34. And the number of all the males that were circumcised were 645 men and 246 children. But Shedechem, son of Pered, the father of Hamor, and his 6 brothers, would not listen unto Shechem and his father, and they would not be circumcised, for the proposal of the sons of Jacob was loathsome in their sight, and their anger was greatly roused at this, that the people of the city had not hearkened to them. And in the evening of the 2nd day, they found 8 small children who had not been circumcised, for their mothers had concealed them from Shechem and his father Hamor, and from the men of the city. And Shechem and his father sent to have them brought before them to be circumcised. When Shedechem and his 6 brothers sprang at them with swords and sought to slay them. And they sought to slay also Shechem and his father Hamor. And they sought to slay Dinah with them on account of this matter. And they said unto them, "What is this thing that you have done? Are there no women amongst the daughters of your brethren, the Canaanites, that you wish to take unto yourselves daughters of the Hebrews, whom ye knew not before, and will do this act which your fathers never commanded you? Do you imagine that you will succeed through this act which you have done? And what will you answer in this affair to your brethren, the Canaanites? Who will come tomorrow and ask you concerning this thing? And if your act shall not appear just and good in their sight, what will you do for your lives, and me for our lives, and your not having hearkened to our voices? And if the inhabitants of the land and all your brethren, the children of Ham, shall hear of your act, saying, on account of a Hebrew woman did Shechem and Hamor his father and all the inhabitants of their city do that which they had been unacquainted, and which their ancestors never commanded them, where then will you fly, or where conceal your shame all your days before your brethren, the inhabitants of the land of Canaan? Now therefore we cannot bear up against this thing which you have done, neither can we be burdened with this yoke upon us, which our ancestors did not command us. Behold, tomorrow we will go and assemble all our brethren, the Canaanitish brethren who dwell in the land, and we will all come and smite you and all those who trust in you, that there shall not be a remnant left from you or them. And when Hamor and his son Shechem and all the people of the city heard the words of Shedechem and his brothers, they were terribly afraid of their lives at their words, and they repented of what they had done. And Shechem and his father Hamor answered their father Shedechem and his brethren. And they said unto them, all the words which you spoke unto us are true. Now do not say, nor imagine in your hearts that on account of the love of the Hebrews, we did this thing that our ancestors did not command us, but because we saw that it was not their intention and desire to accede to our wishes concerning their daughter as to our taking her, except on this condition. So we hearkened to their voices and did this act which you saw in order to obtain our desire from them. And when we shall have obtained our request from them, we will then return to them and do unto them which you say unto us. We beseech you then to wait and tarry until our flesh shall be healed, and we again become strong, and we will then go together against them and do unto them that which is in your hearts and in ours. And Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, heard all the words which Shedechem and his brothers had spoken, and what Hamor and his son Shechem and the people of their city had answered them. And she hastened and sent one of her maidens that her father had sent to take care of her in the house of Shechem, to Jacob her father and to her brothers, saying, thus did Shedechem and his brothers advise concerning you, and thus did Hamor and Shechem and the people of the city answer them. And when Jacob heard the words, he was filled with wrath, and he was indignant at them, and his anger was kindled against them. And Simeon and Levi swore and said, as the Adon liveth, the Elohim of the whole earth, by this time tomorrow there shall not be a remnant left in the whole city. So just taking a quick pause here, we see that now, if they needed any justification on top of what happened with Dinah, I think this makes it just like almost too easy for Simeon and Levi to go in there ready to rumble, right? After hearing this evil report. And, verse 24 now. And 20 young men had concealed themselves who were not circumcised. And these young men fought against Simeon and Levi. And Simeon and Levi killed 18 of them. And 2 fled from them and escaped to some lime pits that were in the city. And Simeon and Levi sought for them, but could not find them. And Simeon and Levi continued to go about in the city. And they killed all the people of the city at the edge of the sword. And they left none remaining. And there was a great consternation in the midst of the city, and the cry of the people of the city ascended to heaven, and all the women and children cried aloud. And Simeon and Levi slew all the city. They left not a male remaining in the whole city. And they slew Hamor and Shechem, his son, at the edge of the sword. And they brought away Dinah from the house of Shechem, and they went from there. And the sons of Jacob went and returned, and they came upon the slain and spoiled all their property, which was in the city and in the field. And remember, they spoiled all their property. We're going to see that, including with this property, there is going to be some idols. Just take that note. Continuing verse 30. And while if they were taking the spoil, 300 men stood up and threw dust at them and struck them with stones. When Simeon turned to them, and he slew them all with the edge of the sword. And Simeon turned before Levi, and they came into the city. And they took away their sheep and their oxen and their cattle, and also the remaining of the women and the little ones. And they led all these away. And they opened a gate and went out and came unto their father Jacob with vigor. And when Jacob saw all that they had done to the city and saw the spoil that they took from them, Jacob was very angry at them. And Jacob said unto them, what is this that you have done to me? Behold, I obtained rest amongst the Canaanitish inhabitants of the land, and none of them meddled with me. And now you have done to And now you have done to make me obnoxious to the inhabitants of the land, amongst the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I am but of a small number, and they will all assemble against me and slay me when they hear of your work with their brethren, and I and my household will be destroyed. So the reason I'm reading the rest of this chapter is because of this point right here. We don't get this story in the canon, but they do rise up against the children of Jacob, which is what we're going to get to in the book of Jasher. Continuing verse 34. And Simeon and Levi and all their brothers with them answered their father Jacob and said unto him, Behold, we live in the land, and shall Shechem do this to our sister? Why art thou silent at all that Shechem has done? And shall we deal with our sister as with a harlot in the streets? And the men, in the number of the women whom Simeon and Levi took captive from the city of Shechem, who they did not slay, was 85, who had not known man. And amongst them was a young damsel of a beautiful appearance and well favored, whose name was Bunah. And Simeon took her for a wife. And the number of the males which they took captive and did not slay was 47 men, and the rest they slew. And all the young men and women that Simeon and Levi had taken captive from the city of Shechem were to service to Jacob, to the sons of Jacob, and to their children after them, until the day of the sons of Jacob going forth from the land of Egypt. Wow. So these people that they took captive from Shechem was their servants all the way to Egypt. 38. And when Simeon and Levi had gone forth from the city, the two young men that were left, who had concealed themselves in the city and did not die amongst the people of the city, rose up, and these young men went into the city and walked about it, and found the city desolate without man, and only women weeping. And these young men cried out and said, Behold, this is the evil which the sons of Jacob, the Hebrew, did to this city, and their having this day destroyed one of the Canaanitish cities, and were not afraid of their lives of all the land of Canaan. And these men left the city and went to the city of Tapnach. And they came there and told the inhabitants of Tapnach all that had befallen them, and all the sons of Jacob had done to the city of Shechem. And the information reached Jashub, the king of Tapnach, and he sent men to the city of Shechem to see those young men, for the king did not believe them in this account, saying, How could two men lay waste such a large town as Shechem? I mean, all throughout, if you haven't read the book of Maccabees and the book of Jasher in its entirety, there's so many stories of how mighty Hebrew warriors are. So this is just one of many that they're saying, how could that be possible? Well, it won't be the last story. Continue, verse 41. The messengers of Jashub came back and told him, saying, We came unto the city, and it is destroyed. There is not a man there, only weeping women. Neither is any flock or cattle there, for all that was in the city the sons of Jacob took away. And Jashub wondered at this, saying, How could two men do this thing, to destroy so large a city, and not one man able to stand against them? For the like has not been from the days of Nimrod, and not even from the remotest time has the like taken. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, said to his people, Be courageous, and we will go and fight against these Hebrews, and do unto them as they did unto the city, and we will avenge the cause of the people of the city. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, consulted with counselors about this matter, and his advisors said unto him, Alone thou wilt not prevail over the Hebrews, for they must be powerful to do this work to the whole city. If two of them lay waste the whole city, and no one stood against them, surely if thou wilt go against them, they will all rise against us and destroy us likewise. But if thou wilt send to all the kings that surround us, and let them come together. Then we will go with them and fight against the sons of Jacob. Then wilt thou prevail against them. Joshua heard the words of his counselors, and their words pleased him and his people, and he did so. And Joshua, king of Tapnach, sent to all the kings of the Amorites that surrounded Shechem and Tapnach, saying, Go up with me and assist me. We will smite Jacob the Hebrew and all his sons and destroy them from the earth. For thus did he do to the city of Shechem, and do you not know of it? And all the kings of the Amorites heard the evil that the sons of Jacob had done to the city of Shechem, and they were greatly astonished at them. And the 7 kings of the Amorites assembled with all their armies, about 10,000 men with drawn swords, and they came to fight against the sons of Jacob. And Jacob heard that the king of the Amorites had assembled to fight against his sons. And Jacob was greatly afraid, and it distressed him. And Jacob exclaimed against Simeon and Levi, saying, What is this act that you did? Why have you injured me, to bring against me all the children of Canaan to destroy me and my household? For I was at rest, even I and my household, and you have done this thing and provoked the inhabitants of the land against me by your proceedings. So let's remember that verse right there, 51 in the chapter Joshua 33 of Jasher, because when we go to Genesis 34, verse 30, then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, You have brought trouble upon me by making me a stench to the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the people of this land. We are few in numbers. If they unite against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed. So this is kind of running parallel for Genesis 34:30 with Joshua 33. This is why Jacob was freaking out, because they did. This is what happened. All right, continuing now. Verse 52. All right. And Jacob answered his father, saying, Was it for not my brothers Simeon and Levi? So we got Judah stepping up into the conversation now, not just Simeon and Levi. Judah saying, Was it not for not my brother Simeon and Levi killed all the inhabitants of Shechem? Surely it was because Shechem had humbled our sister and transgressed the commandment of our Elohim to Noah and his children, for Shechem took our sister away by force and committed adultery, which, like I said, I believe that's supposed to be fornication, not necessarily adultery with her. And Shechem did all this evil, and not one of the inhabitants of his city interfered with him to say, Why wilt thou do this? Surely for this my brothers went and smote the city, and the Adon delivered it into their hands, because its inhabitants had transgressed the commandments of our Elohim. It is then for naught that they have done all this. And now, why art thou afraid or distressed? And why art thou displeased at my brothers? And why is thy anger kindled against them? Surely our Elohim, who delivered into their hand the city of Shechem and its people, he will also deliver into our hands all the Canaanitish kings who are coming against us. And we will do unto them as my brothers did unto Shechem. Now be tranquil about them and cast away thy fears, but trust in the Adon our Elohim, and pray unto him to assist us and deliver our enemies into our hands. And Judah called to one of his father's servants, Go now and see where those kings who are coming against us are situated with their armies. And the servant went and looked far off and went up opposite Mount Sihon, and saw all the camps of the kings standing in the fields. And he returned to Judah and said, behold, the kings are situated in the fields with all the camps, and a people exceedingly numerous, like unto the sand upon the seashore. And Judah said unto Simeon and Levi, and unto all his brothers, strengthen yourselves and be sons of valor, for the Adon our Elohim is with us. Do not fear them. Stand forth, each man girt with his weapons of war, his bow and his sword, and we will go and fight against these uncircumcised men. And the Adon our Elohim, he will save us. And they rose up, and each girt on his weapons of war, great and small. 11 sons of Jacob, all the servants of Jacob with them, and all the servants of Isaac who were with Isaac in Hebron. All came to them equipped in all sorts of war instruments. And the sons of Jacob and their servants, being 120, went towards these kings, and Jacob also went with them. And the sons of Jacob sent unto their father Isaac, the son of Abraham, to Hebron, saying, praying we beseech thee for us unto the Most High, to protect us from the hands of the Canaanites who are coming against us, and to deliver them into our hands. And Isaac, the son of Abraham, prayed unto the Adon for his sons, and he said, O Adon Elohim, thou didst promise my father, saying, I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and thou didst also promise me and establish thou thy word, now that the kings of Canaan are coming together to make war with my children, because they committed no violence. Now therefore, O Adon Elohim, Elohim of the whole earth, pervert, I pray thee, the counsel of these kings, that they may not fight against my sons, and impress the hearts of these kings and their people with terror of my sons, and bring down their pride, and that they may turn away from my sons. And with thy strong hand and an outstretched arm, deliver my sons and their servants from them, for power and might are in thy hands to do all this. And the sons of Jacob and their servants went towards these kings, and they trusted in the Adon their Elohim while if they were going. Jacob their father also prayed unto the Adon and said, O Adon Elohim, powerful, exalted Elohim, who has reigned from all days of old, from this till now and forever. Thou art he who stirreth up wars and calleth them to cease. In thy hand are power and might to exalt and to bring down. Oh, may my prayer be acceptable before thee, that thou may have turned to me with thy mercies, to impress the hearts of these kings and their people with terror of my sons, and terrifying them in their camps, and with thy great kindness deliver all those that trust in thee, for it is thou who canst bring people unto us and reduce nations under our power. Woo! Chapter 34. We're going to continue in 35 for a few verses here to get to the conclusion of this matter. First, we're going to read the first 3 verses here. And all the kings of the Amorites came and took their stand in the field to consult with their counselors what was to be done with the sons of Jacob. For they were still afraid of them, saying, behold, 2 of them slew the whole of the city of Shechem. And the Adon heard the prayers of Jacob, Isaac and Jacob, and he filled the hearts of all these kings advisors with great fear and terror, that they unanimously exclaimed, are you silly this day? Or is there no understanding in you that you will fight with the Hebrews? And why will you take a delight in your own destruction this day? And then we're going to skim down. They go through all the history of the Hebrews, of why you should fear them. And then we're going to go to verses 19 through 25. Surely you know and understand that you do not come to fight with them, but you come to fight with their Elohim, who made choice of them. And you have therefore all come this day to be destroyed. Now therefore refrain from this evil which you are endeavoring to bring upon yourselves. It will be better for you not to go into battle with them, although they are but few in numbers, because their Elohim is with them. And when the kings of the Amorites heard all the words of their advisors, their hearts were filled with terror, and they were afraid of the sons of Jacob and would not fight against them. And they inclined their ears to the words of their advisors, and they listened to all their words, and the words of their counselors greatly pleased the kings, and they did so. And the kings turned and refrained from the sons of Jacob, for they durst not approach them to make war with them, for they were greatly afraid of them, and their hearts melted within them for their fear of them. For this proceeded from the Adon to them, for he heard the prayers of his servants Isaac and Jacob, for they trusted in him. And all these kings returned to their camps on that day, each to his own city, and they did not at that time fight with the sons of Jacob. And the sons of Jacob kept their station that day till evening opposite of Mount Sihon. And seeing that these kings did not come to fight against them, the sons of Jacob returned home. And before we continue, we're going to a quick precept here of just Jacob here. It makes it clear that Esau was a cunning hunter. He was outdoorsman, but Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So the father, obviously we hear Simeon, Levi. We know Judah is a warrior, but their father Jacob is not a warrior. He's not a hunter. It's just not his cup of tea. So that's just, it is what it is. And then also the closing of this chapter, Leviticus 19:29. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. This is also another commandment, just closing out this chapter on the reasons why they just can't allow this to happen. This is a form of whoredom, allowing your daughter just to be given over to pagans and to be treated in this manner as well. And finally, that's the conclusion to chapter 34. All right, 35, verse 1.
Genesis 35. Then God said to Jacob, Arise, go up to Bethel and there. Build an altar there to the God who appeared to you when you fled from your brother Esau. So Jacob told his household and all who were with him, Get rid of the foreign gods that are among you. Purify yourselves and change your garments. Then let us arise and go to Bethel. I will build an altar there to God, who answered me in my day of distress. He has been with me wherever I have gone. So they gave Jacob all their foreign gods and all their earrings, and Jacob buried them under the oak near Shechem. As they set out, a terror from God fell over the surrounding cities, so that they did not pursue Jacob's sons. So Jacob and everyone with him arrived in Luz, that is, Bethel, in the land of Canaan. There Jacob built an altar, and he called that place El Bethel, because it was there that God had revealed himself to Jacob as he fled from his brother.
All right, so the Most High calls unto Jacob, and we see now, we already read it, so we can see through the book of Jasher the timeline of all of these things. This was immediately after, as we see the very next chapter. We just got done finishing chapter 35 of Jasher, and the very first verse of Jasher 36 verse 1 says, At that time the Adon appeared unto Jacob, saying, Arise, go to Bethel. So just showing just how in line this is. So when we see in verse 5 here, as they set out, a terror from Alahaim fell over the surrounding cities, so that they did not pursue Jacob's sons. Now we know what story that's referring to. And with the idols, here. I told you, remember that they went and looted the city. And then we go to the Targums, verse 2. Targums straight up say, put away the idols of the peoples which are among you, which you took from the temple of Shechem. So we obviously know this came from Shechem. They just looted the city, and this is why the Most High tells them, verse 2, get rid of the foreign idols, the foreign gods. Where did they come from? They obviously came from Shechem. And so that brings us to these precepts. Deuteronomy 7:26. Neither shalt thou bring an abomination into thy house, lest thou be a cursed thing like it. But thou shalt utterly detest it, and thou shalt utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. And I don't know if the sons of Jacob was given this commandment prior. Maybe they wasn't, which is why the Most High commanded them right then and there. He was saying, you can't loot those things. You cannot loot their abominations, their gods, and bring them back home. And when you don't know better, the Most High tells you, and you can do better immediately. And that's what they did. He says, purify yourselves. You need to go make me an idol. Go make me an altar and purify yourselves. And most likely they went and did sacrifices. And so, but in the book of Joshua, they have the Torah, and we know what they have been given. They have been given Deuteronomy 7:26. So with this story in the book of Joshua, they are judged immediately for taking back home these cursed things. I want to read verse 1, then 11 through 13 in the book of Joshua. Chapter 7, but the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. For Achan from the tribe of Judah took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Most High was kindled against the children of Yasharallah. And Yasharallah has sinned, now in verse 11, and they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them, for they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen and dissembled also, and they have put it even among their own stuff, which is exactly what we're reading about now. Therefore the children of Yasharallah could not stand before their enemies, but turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except ye destroy the accursed from you, among you. Up, sanctify the people, and say, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. For thus says the Most High, there is an accursed thing in the midst of thee, O Yasharallah, thou canst not stand before thy enemies until ye take away the accursed thing from among you. Whew! Let that be a message for us today. You have idols that you have not put away. Is there something you're holding on to in this life that Abba has told you no? Maybe this is why you're struggling with battles. Maybe this is why you can't overcome, because the Most High can't stand with you if you choose to keep something that he has forbidden you. And he can search your heart. He knows if you know better or not. And if you don't know better, search it out. Search it out. I say this once, I say it again. Just because you don't know you're sinning doesn't mean you're not sinning. Just because you don't know you have a cursed thing in your home doesn't mean it's not a cursed thing. There is mercy, but that thing's in your decisions, in how you carry yourself in this life by searching out matter. So search it out. All right. Back in Genesis 35, continuing at verse 8.
Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried under the oak below Bethel. So Jacob named it Allen-Bacuth. After Jacob had returned from Padan Aram, God appeared to him again and blessed him. And God said to him, though your name is Jacob, You will no longer be called Jacob. Instead, your name will be Israel. So God named him Israel. And God told him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation, even a company of nations, shall come from you, and kings shall descend from you. The land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac I will give to you, and I will give land to your descendants after you. Then God went up from the place where he had spoken with him. So Jacob set up a pillar in the place where God had spoken with him, a stone marker, and he poured out a drink offering on it and anointed it with oil. Jacob called the place where God had spoken with him Bethel.
And before we continue, I just want to say, I just find it interesting that the Most High, it's like right here, the Most High confirms that your name is Yasharallah. We know we got the that chapters back, wrestling with a son of Allahim, an angel, but now it's like concrete happening here. Just interesting to solidify that there. Verse 16.
Later they set out from Bethel, and while they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth, and her labor was difficult. During her severe labor, the midwife said to her, Do not be afraid, for you are having another son. And with her last breath, for she was dying, she named him Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin.
So, what was it, Benoni? According to the Septuagint, let me see, verse 18. Oh, 1 second. I accidentally closed it out. 35:18. All right. Benoni, verse 18 here. It came to pass in her giving up the Ruach, for she was dying, that she called his name the son of my pain, Benoni. But his father called his name Benjamin. He was like, I'm not calling him that. Let's change it a little bit. All right. Continuing, verse 19.
So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. Jacob set up a pillar on her grave. It marks Rachel's tomb to this day. Israel again set out and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah, and Israel heard about it. Jacob had 12 sons. The sons of Leah were Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's maidservant Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali, and of Leah's maidservant Zilpah were Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Aram.
Okay, so let's do a quick review here. Quick review. Now that all 12 sons has officially been born, we have the first 4 sons going to Leah: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah. And then we have 5 and 6 going to Bilhah, the Rachel's servant, Dan and Naphtali. Then we have Zilpah. Zilpah with 7 and 8, Gad and Asher. Back to Leah with Issachar, Zebulun, and then Rachel with Joseph, and now Benjamin. And then we're going to the book of Jasher, chapter 36. We're going to read verse 8 through 15. This will also give some insight on Reuben, the firstborn, laying with Bilhah. All right, verse 8 of chapter 36 of Jasher. And Jacob was 100 years old when the dawn appeared unto him, and blessed him, and called his name Yasharallah. And Rachel, the wife of Jacob, conceived in those days. And at that time, Jacob and all belonging to him journeyed from Bethel to go to his father's house to Hebron. And while if they were going on the road, there was yet but a little way to come to Ephrath. Rachel bare a son, and she had hard labor, and she died. And Jacob buried her in the way of Ephrath, which is Bethlehem, and he set a pillar upon her grave, which is there unto this day. And the days of Rachel were 45 years, and she died. And Jacob called the name of his son that was born to him, which Rachel bare unto him, Benjamin, for he was born to him in the land on the right hand. And it was after the death of Rachel that Jacob pitched his tent in the tent of her handmaid Bilhah. All right. So pitched his tent, meaning he was staying with Bilhah instead of Leah. So here we go. Verse 14. And Reuben was jealous for his mother Leah on this account of this, and he was filled with anger, and he rose up in his anger and went and entered the tent of Bilhah, and he thence removed his father's bed. At that time, the portion of the birthright, together with the kingly and priestly offices, was removed from the sons of Reuben, for he had profaned his father's bed. The birthright was given unto Joseph, the kingly office to Judah, and the priesthood unto Levi, because Reuben had defiled his father's bed. And it's not that we necessarily need to have the commandment. We know that's bad and we shouldn't do it. Let's get the verse. Leviticus 18:8. The nakedness of thy father's wife shall thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness, which is the same thing Ham did to his father Noah as well. And he was cursed on that, and there was consequences with that as well. All right. The end of chapter 35, verse 27.
Jacob returned to his father Isaac at Mamre, near Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. And Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.
That's good that Jacob and Esau was able to bury their father together, though. You know, brotherly time. One thing, weird thing funerals have is that it somehow can bring people together that are not people that want to be around each other. All right. Chapter 36. So this chapter is, as we see at the top here, this is all about Esau's descendants. I'm going to let the whole thing read, and then there's just some points I'm going to pick out through it. A lot when you see the descendants list like this. This is these chapters are for references, so you know who people are in the book. And I'm going to point out some references after we read it all to show that, yeah, there are some figures that do stand out throughout the stories of the Bible. But like I said, I'm going to let this read in its entirety, and then we're going to come back through it. So verses 1 through 43. Let's begin.
Genesis 36. This is the account of Esau, that is, Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan. Adah, daughter of Elon the Hittite, Oholibamah, daughter of Anah and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau. Basemath gave birth to Ruel, and Oholibamah gave birth to Jeush, Jalem, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. Later Esau took his wives and sons and daughters, and all the people of his household, along with his livestock, all his other animals, and all the property he had acquired in Canaan. And he moved to a land far away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. The land where they stayed could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau, that is Edom, settled in the area of Mount Seir. This is the account of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in the area of Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Esau's wife Adah, and Reuel, son of Esau's wife Basemath. The sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. Additionally, Timnah, a concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, gave birth to Amalek. These are the grandsons of Esau's wife Adah. These are the sons of Reuel: Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. They are the grandsons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah, daughter of Anah and granddaughter of Zibeon, whom she bore to Esau: Jeush, Jalem, and Korah. These are the chiefs among the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn of Esau: chiefs Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. They are the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom, and they are the grandsons of Adah. These are the sons of Esau's son Reuel: chiefs Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. They are the chiefs descended from Reuel in the land of Edom, and they are the grandsons of Esau's wife Basemath. These are the sons of Esau's wife Oholibamah: chiefs Jeush, Jalem, and Korah. They are the chiefs descended from Esau's wife Oholibamah, the daughter of Anah. All these are the sons of Esau, that is Edom, and they were their chiefs. These are the sons of Seir the Horite, who were living in the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. They are the chiefs of the Horites, the descendants of Seir in the land of Edom. The sons of Lotan were Hori and Hemam. Timnah was Lotan's sister. These are the sons of Shobal: Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. These are the sons of Zibeon: Aiah and Anah. This is the Anah who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he was pasturing the donkeys of his father Zibeon. These are the children of Anah: Dishon and Oholibamah, daughter of Anah. These are the sons of Dishon: Hemdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Kiran. These are the sons of Ezer: Bilhan, Zaavan, and Achan. These are the sons of Dishon: Uz and Aaron. These are the chiefs of the Horites: chiefs Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. These are the chiefs of the Horites according to their divisions in the land of Seir. These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Bela, son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was Dinhabah. When Bela died, Jobab, son of Zerah from Basra, reigned in his place. When Jobab died, Husham from the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. When Husham died, Hadad, son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the country of Moab, reigned in his place, and the name of his city was Avith. When Hadad died, Samlah from Masrekah reigned in his place. When Samlah died, Shaul from Rehoboth on the Euphrates reigned in his place. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan son of Akbor reigned in his place. When Baal-Hanan son of Akbor died, Hadad reigned in his place. His city was named Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. These are the names of Esau's chiefs, according to their families and regions, by their names: chiefs Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Oholibamah, Elah, Pinon, Kenaz, Teman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom, according to their settlements in the land they possessed. Esau was the father of the Edomites.
All right. So many names, can be overwhelming. But I mean, focus on the names that connect the dots that are pivotal in the scriptures is what you can do with that. And let's start off. I'm going to name a handful that are descendants from Esau that are prominent Bible characters that you may or may not know. We're going to start off with verse 11. Eliphaz. We've heard about Eliphaz. Eliphaz being the son of Esau. Eliphaz had a son named Kenaz. Kenaz. We also see this in verse 15, right here, once again. And he's one of the kings listed at the end of this chapter. And verse 42, right here, as one of the Esau's chiefs, right here. So the connection with him we see is with Caleb, the righteous Caleb, of one of the 12 spies. Yes, Caleb is an Edomite. Let's prove it. Deuteronomy 136. Save Caleb, the son of Jephthah. He shall see it. Talking about the promised land. To him I will give the land that he has trodden upon. We see this connection verse in Numbers 32:12. Save Caleb, the son of Jephthah, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, the son of Nun, which we know is an Israelite. But right there, the Kenizzite are descendants from, you guessed it, Kenaz, which is an Edomite. So Caleb wasn't a blood related Israelite that inherited land in the promised land. As crazy as that sounds, but precept upon precept, this is what we're looking at. Pretty important connection there, right? For anyone that says you have to be from the actual physical seed of Abraham to inherit any promise, right? That's real awkward with line upon line. Continuing now, we see verse 12 here in chapter 36 that Timnah, a concubine of Esau's son Eliphaz, gave birth to Amalek. We will see that over and over again. Amalek. Exodus 17:8. Then came Amalek and fought with Yasharallah. And we'll see that multiple times. Amalek and a lot of the sons of Esau will be battling throughout excuse me. Scripture. The next name that stands out is the very next verse, verse 13. These are the sons of Ruel, and the son that stands out is Zerah. We see that Zerah's name pops up in verse 13, again in verse 17, again at the end of the chapter. Zerah, which was the father of Joab. So we're going to go to the book of Job. Job is short for Joab. And we'll go into the, wrong one. We're going to the very last chapters, 42, for this book of Job in the Septuagint. You will only find this in the Septuagint. The last verse, 17. All of this is verse 17. It's 17a, b, c, all the way through what? E. So Job died. So all this is about Job. So just summarizing what we're reading here. His name before was Joab, connecting the name that we just read. Joab, the son of who? One second. Let's go back real quick. We see in verse 33 that Joab was one of the kings of Edom, and his father's name was Zerah. This lines up all nice. And then right here, this is referring to the kings of Edom. Exactly what we're looking at in chapter 36 of Genesis. And Joab, who was called Job, was one of the kings of Edom. And hold on, where does it say his father's name? I know it mentions this. Oh, right here. It's just spelled different. So Joab, and he himself was the son of his father, Zerah. I mean, there you go. Okay. So, I mean, even without the Septuagint, you can kind of see that Joab there can be, like I said, the name of Job short Job is short for the name of Joab, but then in the Septuagint, I mean, it lines up perfectly with what the lineage of Edom in chapter 36 here. So wow. Two righteous characters of the Bible, Caleb and Job, already confirmed to be the sons of Esau. Yeah, I mean, without doing research, just the general consistency of these two characters, you would never have ever said that. Probably have never heard of that, but that's why it's important to pay attention to the details in these chapters. All right, so now going to verse 24, when it says, "This is the Anna who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he was pasturing the donkeys of his father Zabian," or whichever how you say it. That story is found in the book of Jasher. Let's go to the book of Jasher, chapter 36, verse 28 through 35. Let us read. And the sons of Shobal, okay, this is just where we're at. Okay, Anna, okay. Anna, who found the Yemim in the wilderness when he fed the asses for his father. Okay, here's the story. And while if he was feeding his father's asses, he led them to the wilderness at different times to feed them. And there was a day that he brought them to one of the deserts on the seashore, opposite the wilderness of the people. And while if he was feeding them, behold, a very heavy storm came from the other side of the sea and rested upon the asses that were feeding there. And they all stood still. And afterward, about 120 great and terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea. And they all came to the place where the asses were, and they placed themselves there. And those animals from their middle downwards were in the shape of the children of men. So their lower bodies from the waist down was men legs. And from their middle upward, some had the likeness of bears, and some the likeness of kihas. I tried looking these up. I'll show you some pictures of the consistency of what we're reading here, at least the idea of it. With tails behind them from between their shoulders reaching down to the ground, like the tails of the Duchapath. I don't know. And these animals came and mounted and rode upon these asses and led them away, and they went away unto this day. And one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail, and then fled from that place. And when he saw this work, he was exceedingly afraid of his life, and he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to his sons and brothers all that had happened to him. And many men went to seek the asses, but could not find them. And Anna and his brothers went no more to that place from that day following, for they were greatly afraid of their lives. So I don't know. Let's look at some pictures. It's a crazy, crazy story. let's see. So this was, we see different. It's like a man's body, but it has like look like almost a helmet that's like an animal bear type helmet. And this one is hard to see, but there is another figure that is looking down on as if he smote it, like in the story. So this is the idea that is this portraying possibly that story? I don't know. Just stuff that I found when I searched. Let's go to the next thing I found. We have a body like a man with an animal-like head. And we also see this figure looking like two different, like a man's head with animal body, kind of giving the same type of description as we read here. All this ancient stuff is like these possible ancient type weird crossbred chimeras of ancient times. And then also this one here, just really weird stuff here. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's obviously a crossbreed of men and animals depicted in these old drawings, cave drawings. I don't know what you want to call them. Art. So I don't know what they were doing back in the day. And just thinking about it, saying that looks like a man below the waist and then like an animal above the waist, and described it like three different animals. I had fun. I thought that, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of Dragon Ball Z. They're like, they have regular bottoms, but then from the waist up, they're like animals, monkeys. They have the tails between their back, on their backside. They have regular legs. They're animalistic up top. I don't know. Just an idea of what we're looking at here is all I can do for you. All right. And now in closing the chapter, we have the kings of Edom. In the last couple of verses here, it says that these are the names of Esau's chiefs. Excuse me, not kings, the chiefs. And then it names 11 chiefs. And that brings the last picture I have here. There are 11 dukes in the final list that we just read in a 36. 11 is obviously an off number. The Most High rounds it to 12. So the idea is that 11 is the incompleteness or a failure. And the 11 stars that pagans use is connected supposedly to the 11 dukes of Edom, which is why the 11 dukes is inside of this 11-point star, which by no coincidence, we have 11-pointed star. That is the foundation that the Statue of Liberty is standing on, which most people believe is the kingdom of Edom. So just kind of cool connections there that we know is always in plain sight. And that is the conclusion of chapter 36. All right, last chapter of this portion. Joseph comes into the picture as the main character. Let's get it.
Genesis 37. Now Jacob lived in the land where his father had resided, the land of Canaan. This is the account of Jacob. When Joseph was 17 years old, he was tending the flock with the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah, and he brought their father a bad report about them. Now Israel...
real quick, the Targum suggests a bad report, what the bad report was, and Joseph brought their evil report, for he has seen them eat the flesh that had been torn by wild beasts, the ears and the tails, and he came and told it to his father. So supposedly, according to the Targums, that was the evil or bad report that he went and told against them. So it's just building a case of why they couldn't stand Joseph.
Israel loved Joseph more than his other sons, because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So he made him a robe of many colors. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. Then Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around and bowed down to mine." "Do you intend to reign over us?" his brothers asked. "Will you actually rule us?" So they hated him even more because of his dream and his statements. Then Joseph had another dream and told it to his brothers. "Look," he said, "I had another dream, and this time the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me." He told his father and brothers, but his father rebuked him and said, "What is this dream that you have had? Will your mother and brothers and I actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept in mind what he had said. Some time later, Joseph's brothers had gone to pasture their father's flocks near Shechem. Israel said to him, "Are not your brothers pasturing the flocks at Shechem? Get ready, I am sending you to them." "I am ready," Joseph replied. Then Israel told him, "Go now and see how your brothers and the flocks are faring, and bring word back to me." So he sent him off from the valley of Hebron. And when Joseph arrived in Shechem, a man found him wandering in the field and asked, "What are you looking for?" "I'm looking for my brothers," Joseph replied. "Can you please tell me where they are pasturing their flocks?" "They have moved on from here," the man answered. "I heard them say, 'Let us go to Dothan.'" So Joseph set out after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Now Joseph's brothers saw him in the distance, and before he arrived, they plotted to kill him. "Here comes that dreamer," they said to one another. "Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. We can say that a vicious animal has devoured him. Then we shall see what becomes of his dreams."
All right, let's stop there, verse 20. Let's go into the book of Jasher. So just FYI, let me show y'all. So we just got done reading chapter 36. Just FYI, when they return back into this general area, there's a whole war that actually does happen between the people of the land of Canaan, and that's going to be covered in chapters 37, 38, 39, 40. And now we're at chapter 41. So all of those chapters is the sons of Jacob actually going to war with the people of Canaan and land it down. So just saying that that's what happened, that we're not going to read way too long. That's just going to have to be on your time when you are reading the book of Jasher. All right. So here we are, verse 41. We're going to read verses 10 through 24 here. And at that time he dreamed a dream, and he came unto his brothers and told them his dream, and he said unto them, "I dreamed a dream, and behold, we were all binding sheaves in the field, and my sheaf rose and placed itself upon the ground, and your sheaf surrounded it and bowed down to it." And his brethren answered him and said unto him, "What meaneth this dream that thou didst dream? Dost thou imagine in thy heart to reign or rule over us?" And obviously this is foreshadowing him having the sheaf of all the harvest during the famine coming up in Egypt, and them literally coming to Egypt and bowing down to him before they knew it was him. So this obviously is a prolific dream. Continuing, verse 12. And he still came and told the thing to his father Jacob, and Jacob kissed Joseph when he heard these words from his mouth, and Jacob blessed Joseph. And when the sons of Jacob saw that their father had blessed Joseph and had kissed him, that he loved him exceedingly, they became jealous of him and hated him the more. And after this, Joseph dreamed another dream and related the dream to his father in the presence of his brethren. And Joseph said unto his father and brethren, Behold, I have again dreamed a dream. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me. And his father heard the words of Joseph and in his dream, and seeing that his brethren hated Joseph on account of this matter, Jacob therefore rebuked Joseph before his brethren on account of this thing, saying, What meaneth this dream which thou hast dreamed, in this magnifying thyself before thy brethren who are older than thou art? Oh, excuse me. Dost thou imagine in thy heart that I and thy mother and thy 11 brethren will come and bow down to thee, that thou speakest these things? And his brethren were jealous of him on account of his words and dreams, and they continued to hate him. And Jacob reserved the dreams in his heart. And the sons of Jacob went one day to feed their father's flock in Shechem, for they were still herdsmen in those days. And while the sons of Jacob were that day feeding in Shechem, they delayed, and the time of gathering in the cattle were past, and they had not arrived. And Jacob saw that his sons were delayed in Shechem, and Jacob said within himself, Peradventure the people of Shechem have risen up to fight against them. Therefore they have delayed coming this day. And Jacob called Joseph his son and commanded him, saying, Behold, thy brethren are feeding in Shechem this day. Behold, they have not yet come back. Go now, therefore, and see where they are, and bring me word back concerning the welfare of thy brethren and the welfare of the flock. And Jacob sent his son Joseph to the valley of Hebron. And Joseph came for his brothers to Shechem, and he could not find them. And Joseph went about the field which was near Shechem to see where his brothers had turned. He missed his road in the wilderness and knew not which way he should go. And an angel of the Adon found him. So in Genesis it says that man was an angel, according to Jasher, found him wandering in the road towards the field. And Joseph said unto the angel of the Adon, I seek my brethren. Hast thou not heard where they are feeding? And the angel of the Adon said unto Joseph, I saw thy brethren feeding here, and I heard them say they would go to feed in Dothan. And Joseph hearkened to the voice of the angel of the Adon, and he went to his brother in Dothan, and he found them in Dothan feeding the flock. And Joseph advanced to his brethren, and before he had come nigh unto them, they had resolved to slay him. All right, back in chapter 37 of Genesis, verse 21 now. Let's continue.
When Reuben heard this, he tried to rescue Joseph from their hands. Let us not take his life, he said. Do not shed his blood. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him. Reuben said this so that he could rescue Joseph from their hands and return him to his father. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the robe of many colors he was wearing, and they took him and threw him into the pit. Now the pit was empty, with no water in it. And as they sat down to eat a meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Their camels were carrying spices, balm, and myrrh on their way down to Egypt. Then Judah said to his brothers, "What profit will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay a hand on him, for he is our brother, our own flesh." And they agreed. So when the Midianite traders passed by, his brothers pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him for 20 shekels of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt.
All right, so we see here that we have Midianites and Ishmaelites. These are two different peoples, but they're mentioning them like almost interchangeably, and it can be a little confusing. So the book of Jasher clarifies all of this because at one point, the Midianite traders had them, and at one point, the Ishmaelites traders are going to have them. But they just kind of speak of both of them here. So let's go to the book of Jasher. Now we're going to be in chapter 42. We're going to read verse 3 through 25. And Judah said unto them, "What gain will it be to us if we slay our brother? Peradventure Elohim will acquire him from us. Then is the counsel proposed concerning him, which you shall do unto him. Behold, this company of Ishmaelites going down to Egypt. Now therefore, come, let us dispose of him to them, and let not our hand be upon him. And they will lead him along with them, and he will be lost amongst the people of the land, and we will not put him to death with our own hands." And the proposal pleased his brethren, and they did according to the word of Judah. And while if they were discoursing about this matter, and before the company of the Ishmaelites had come up to them, 7 trading men of Midian passed by them. And as they passed, they were thirsty, and they lifted up their eyes and saw the pit in which Joseph was immersed, and they looked, and behold, every species of bird was upon him. And these Midianites ran to the pit to drink water, for they thought that it contained water. And on coming before the pit, they heard the voice of Joseph crying and weeping in the pit, and they looked down into the pit, and they saw, and behold, there was a youth of comely appearance and well favored. And they called unto him and said, "Who art thou, and who brought thee hither, and who placed thee in this pit in the wilderness?" And they all assisted to raise up Joseph, and they drew him out and brought him up from the pit, and took him and went away on their journey, and passed by his brethren. And these said unto them, "Why do you do this, to take our servant from us and to go away?" So these are his brothers saying this to the Midianites. "Surely we placed this youth in the pit because he rebelled against us, and you come and bring him up and lead him away. Now then give us back our servant." And the Midianites answered and said unto the sons of Jacob, "It is your servant, or does this man attend you? Peradventure you are all his servants, for he is more comely and well favored than any of you. And why do you all speak falsely unto us? Now therefore we will not listen to your words nor attend to you, for we found the youth in the pit in the wilderness, and we took him, and we will therefore go on." And all the sons of Jacob approached them and rose up to them and said unto them, "Give us back our servant, and why will you all die by the edge of the sword?" And the Midianites cried out against them, and they drew their swords and approached to fight with the sons of Jacob. And behold, Simeon rose up from his seat against them and sprang upon the ground and drew his sword and approached the Midianites, and he gave a terrible shout before them, so that his shouting was heard at a distance, and the earth shook at Simeon's shouting. And the Midianites was terrified on account of Simeon and the noise of his shouting, and they fell upon their faces and were excessively alarmed. And Simeon said unto them, "Verily I am Simeon, the son of Jacob the Hebrew, who have only with my brother destroyed the city of Shechem and the cities of the Amorites. So shall Elohim moreover do unto me that if all your brethren, the people of Midian, and also the kings of Canaan were to come with you, they could not fight against me. Now, therefore, give us back the youth which you have taken, lest I give your flesh to the birds of the skies and the beasts of the earth. And the Midianites were more afraid of Simeon, and they approached the sons of Jacob with terror and fright, and with pathetic words, saying, Surely you have said that the young man is your servant, and that he rebelled against you, and therefore you placed him in the pit. What then will you do with your servant who rebels against his master? Now, therefore, sell him unto us, and we will give you all that you require for him. And the Adon was pleased to do this in order that the sons of Jacob should not slay their brother. And the Midianites saw that Joseph was of comely appearance and well favored. They desired him in their hearts and were urgent to purchase him from his brethren. And the sons of Jacob hearkened to the Midianites, and they sold their brother Joseph to them for 20 pieces of silver. And Reuben, their brother, was not with them. And the Midianites took Joseph and continued their journey to Gilead. They were going along the road, and the Midianites repented of what they had done, and having purchased the young man. And one said to the other, What is this thing that we have done in taking this youth from the Hebrews, who is of comely appearance and well favored? Perhaps this youth is stolen from the land of the Hebrews. Why then have we done this thing? And if he should be sought for and found in our hands, we shall die through him. Now surely hardy and powerful men have sold him to us, the strength of one of whom you saw this day. Perhaps they stole him from his land with their might and with their powerful arm, and have therefore sold him to us for a small value, which we gave unto them. And while if they were thus discoursing together, they looked, and behold, the company of Ishmaelites, which were coming at first, and with the sons of Jacob saw, was advancing towards the Midianites. And the Midianites said to each other, Come, let us sell this youth to the company of the Ishmaelites who are coming towards us, and we will take for him the little that we gave for him, and we will be delivered from this evil. And they did so, and they reached the Ishmaelites, and the Midianites sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, which they had given for his brethren. And the Midianites went on the road to Gilead, and the Ishmaelites took Joseph and let him ride upon one of the camels, and they were leading him to Egypt. All right. 1 second. Okay. All right. Back to the book of Genesis. Let's finish chapter 37 now, starting at verse 29.
When Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not there, he tore his clothes, returned to his brothers, and said, The boy is gone. What am I going to do? Then they took Joseph's robe, slaughtered a young goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. They sent the robe of many colors to their father and said, We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe or not. His father recognized it and said, It is my son's robe. A vicious animal has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces. Then Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth around his waist, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. No, he said, I will go down to Sheol mourning for my son. So his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianites sold Joseph in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard.
All right, let's finish off this understanding in the book of Jasher. And now we're going to go to verses 1 through 16 in chapter 43. And when the sons of Jacob had sold their brother Joseph to the Midianites, their hearts were smitten on account of him, and they repented of their acts, and they sought for him to bring him back, but could not find him. Very interesting perspective you don't get in the canon. And Reuben returned to the pit in which Joseph had been put in order to lift him out and restore him to his father. And Reuben stood by the pit and heard not a word. And he called out, Joseph, Joseph. And no one answered or uttered a word. And Reuben said, Joseph has died through fright, or some serpent has caused his death. Because also another thing that's mentioned earlier in Jasher, that there was serpents and scorpions in this vacant hole as well. And Reuben descended into the pit, and he searched for Joseph and could not find him in the pit. And he came out again. And Reuben tore his garments and said, the child is not there, and how shall I reconcile my father about him if he be dead? And he went to his brethren and found them grieving on account of Joseph and counseling together how to reconcile their father about him. And Reuben said unto his brethren, I came to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not there. What then shall we say unto our father for my father will only seek the lad from me. And his brethren answered him, saying, thus and thus we did, and our hearts afterwards smote us on account of this act. And we now sit to seek a pretext how we should reconcile our father to it. And Reuben said unto them, what is this you have done to bring down the gray hairs of our father in sorrow to the grave? The thing is not good that you have done. And Reuben sat with them, and they all rose up and sware to each other not to tell the thing unto Jacob. And they all said, the man who will tell this to our father and his household, or who will report this to any of the children of the land, we will all rise up against him and slay him with the sword. And the sons of Jacob feared each other in this matter, from the youngest to the oldest, and no one spoke a word, and they concealed the thing in their hearts. And they afterwards sat down to determine and invent something to say unto their father Jacob concerning all these things. And Issachar said unto them, here is an advice for you, if it seem good in your eyes to do this thing. Take the coat which belongeth to Joseph, and tear it, and kill a kid of the goats, and dip it in his blood, and send it to our father. And when he seeth it, he will say, an evil beast has devoured him. Therefore tear ye his coat, and behold, his blood will be upon his coat. And by your doing this shall be free of our father's murmurings. And Issachar's advice pleased them, and they hearkened unto him, and they did according to the word of Issachar, which he had counseled them. And they hastened and took Joseph's coat and tore it, and they killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat of the blood of the kid. And they trampled it in dust, and they sent the coat to their father Jacob by the hand of Naphtali. And they commanded him to say these words, we have gathered the cattle and had come as far as the road to Shechem. And father, when we found this coat upon the road in the wilderness, dipped in blood and dust, now therefore know whether it be thy son's coat or not. And Naphtali went and came unto his father, and he gave him the coat, and spoke unto him all these words which his brethren had commanded him. And Jacob saw Joseph's coat, and he knew it, and he fell upon his face to the ground, and became still as a stone. And he afterwards rose up and cried out with a loud and weeping voice, and he said, it is the coat of my son Joseph. And that is the conclusion of week 11, Torah portion, covering Genesis 34 through 37. Tawadah Yasharallah for joining me on this Shabbat holy convocation where we read the Torah line by line, seeking to be edified by the truth and the only truth. So help us, Abba. Shabbat Shalom. May Abba Barak y'all for seeking his truth and walking his path. Shalom.